Hello and welcome to the Animation Kimmunication podcast, your source for discussion about animation, film, fandom, and more. So please join your host, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, or KP, and Lauren Kizich, the Abbey Roadie, for today's discussion. If you like what you hear, please remember to support by giving a like, a follow, as well as subscribing to the main I Love Kim Possible a Lot channel on YouTube. Spread the word and keep being a part of a great community. This episode contains some mild adult language.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Space Jam podcast. I'm KP.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam.
The whole podcast this week is us awkwardly singing the original Space Jam theme. You can leave now if you want.
Everybody get up.
They didn't use that song in the movie. They had it. They had it right there, and they didn't use it.
They did use Pump Up the Jam, though, and
that doesn't count.
That
does not count. Anyway, so we'll be talking about Space Jam 2, A New Legacy, or just a new. I don't remember. Sometimes they have the two in there.
It's Space Jam: A New Legacy. That's pretty much what they call it. But it's Space Jam 2: Electric Boogaloo.
It's Space Jam 2. We need more money. We'll once we start getting into spoiler territories, we will let you know. But you can always go see it and come back if you want to listen to the whole entire podcast where we just make slam jammas puns the whole time. Anyway, so we'll start with news and then we will go to Space Jam. Okay, so news in the KP verse. So if all two of you who are going to Everfree Northwest care, Everfree just put out their event schedule, so you can start. And they have this nifty little thing that I wish all the conventions would do ever. That if you go on their website and you scroll down, you can have your own schedule and you can customize it, which I'm like, that seems fun, because as I mentioned on our Convention 101 podcast, if you don't have your day planned, you're going to spend 50% of the day in the vendor hall and you're going to be like, wow, I didn't get to do any of the things I wanted to. So make sure you plan your day, or else, nothing will happen. So
it's the same rules. Okay, let me just say, it's the same rules that apply to going to a theme park that has max capacity, a lot of rides. I'm going to use the best example of this is like Disneyland. You got to go in with an itinerary. You got to go in with a strategy. You got to go in a plan. Because otherwise, if you're free roaming, if you don't plan out your day, as best as you can, you're going to miss out on a lot. Otherwise, you're roaming about and you're wasting time, and then boom, before you know it, the day's over and you've only gotten 2 rides in. When if you played it smart, you could have gotten a whole lot more in. So, just saying. Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing, because I got my schedule. My schedule for the panels that I am hosting specifically are, there's 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. I do not have any Friday panels for some reason. I don't know. That's just how they planned it. It's fine. I don't really care. But anyway, so my schedule is YouTube production, Saturday 2:15 to 3:15 p.m. in the Celestia room. They name all the rooms after like the princesses.
That's cute.
So that will have a special premiere. Logan, my friend, or Toucan LDM, or whatever, he makes the My Little Pony Meet series. He will be premiering probably an animatic of a scene from Miraculous Ladybug Meets My Little Pony there too. So that will be never before seen before there. So if you want that, there's your motivation to come to that. Go ahead, Lauren.
It's a sneak peek.
Exclusive.
Peek. It's the Hall H view, guys. You get to see stuff before everybody else does.
Yeah. My Everfree contact was like, you need to, like, as long as are you gonna premiere something new? And I'm like, well, I can. As well as we're getting like a highlight reel of all the ending gags that we're gonna play, and I haven't seen a lot of these edits in like years and years, so that should be fun. And then on Saturday night we have Kim Possible screening Kim Possible screening and trivia with I Love Kim Possible a lot. I don't know why I read the whole thing. Anyway, that's Saturday 9 to 10:30 p.m. So it's an hour and a half. We will be watching 2 episodes of Kim Possible, but I will pick. They won't be any of the movies, and then we will have a trivia contest about Kim Possible, not about me or something. So some trivia will be from the episodes, I think, and some will just be some general trivia. So we'll divide you into groups and you play for prizes and stuff like that. It'll be fun. And then my last panel is starting a fan project Sunday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. in the Celestia room, which is, we talked about how you reach out and you make contacts and you do fan projects that are not specifically things that you can do by yourself. So how to make friends and have them do things with you. And then if you don't care about any of that, then I will take your money. So I'll be at booth 2 in the vendor hall. So on my Twitter, I put this nice little map, and Emmy, shout out to Emmy, made this pretty little graphic where she drew a cartoon me and I'm pointing at where I am. So you can check out that if you want a download of it to remember. But we have KP merch. We're getting t-shirts ready. We have a couple plushies ready. We have an 80s themed KP plushie that will be for silent auction. As well as I am doing commissions. That's the biggest thing, I think. So buttons, keychains, whatever. And then commissions of anything, especially, or anything that is safe for work. So I can draw humans. I can draw you as a pony. I design a lot of little kids as ponies who don't have a pony OC. But, pretty much anything. Results may vary. I'm not the best artist, so my prices represent that. I think it's it starts at $10 for a sketch or something like that. So, anyway, come and spend your money. And then I have this nice, pretty punk rarity painting that I will be also selling for silent auction. So please spend your money, especially on Friday. I think that's it. For Nerdfest, the other convention I'm doing in August. Yes. Their schedule's already been out. It's similar, essentially, to this, and I'll go over it as we get closer to Nerdfest. But Nerdfest is in Davenport, Idaho, near the end of August, and then I start school in September, which is okay. Okay, I think those are all the other KP updates. Besides, please subscribe and notification buttons and stuff like that. But for prizes, I will get to that. So I have stickers. I bought a bunch of stickers. If you come to any of the panels, you can get some stickers. For the trivia thing specifically, we're printing out coloring pages for kids. But you guys can have some coloring pages, like if your team wins or something. I imagine we'll have plenty extra. So, we have superhero KP, princesses with KP, and Discord and KP, and they're all just so it's me interacting with a bunch of characters. So, coloring pages for kids and adults. Okay, I think I'm done. Lauren, do you want to do a news now?
Yeah, so we got a couple headlines here that we can focus on, then we can move on to the main topic at hand.
Space Jam.
Yeah. So, got 2 actually Netflix-related updates here. So, Masters of the Universe Revelation dropped on Netflix this past week. And apparently a lot of people seem to be really enjoying it. It was created, this is the one that was launched by Kevin Smith, animated by Powerhouse. And so basically, it's in good hands. And I remember how pumped I was alone for just the trailer. So I'm looking forward to diving into it myself, because I had to do a lot of catch up over the past week. So so Masters of the Universe is next up on my list. So I'm very excited. And also, we have a release date for I Heart Arlo, the series that follows right after Arlo the Alligator Boy movie. And it's set to be dropped on August 27th. So stay tuned if you love Arlo the Alligator Boy. We got a lot more Arlo, lovely animated content, musical content, all that good stuff coming up. So, and if you haven't seen Arlo yet, please do go see it. Support it. It's a wonderful, wonderful production. Super heartwarming and just fun. So it basically it sets up everything that'll be for the series. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought Arlo was just okay, but the animation itself was very pretty, so the production team did a good job with that. Is there any more news?
I will probably I'll just drop it here. There was some teaser footage released from Comic-Con. Was it Comic-Con at Home? I guess what they call it now. Is that there was teaser footage from The Ghosted Molly McGee for Disney and Jellystone for HBO Max. So we get a little taste of what the shows are like to come. We actually got Jellystone's some clips, and then we got their opening their opener sequence basically, and the credit sequence. And then we also have a scene that sets up Molly McGee's relationship with the ghost, that she and her family basically move into what is essentially a haunted house, and Molly immediately tries to befriend the ghost that lives in the attic there. Mm-hmm. And the ghost realizes, she's not stuck with him, he's stuck with her. So that's what sets up their whole
what a twist
relationship. And it's another show that's going to be musically based, so there's going to be lots of songs in it, and so I'm really excited. I've been pumped for it for a while, ever since they dropped the wonderful opening sequence, the title sequence that they produced, that also has a theme song. So yeah, and I think that's about it. At least just to generally wrap up headlines for the week.
Yeah, we're actually kind of sort of getting back to a week schedule, so I don't think we'll have regular, again, interviews probably till the fall, till like people get their post-COVID living situation / school situation / whatever situation done. So luckily there's been a steady supply about movies to talk about, so the problem kind of solves itself. So Lauren, what are your initial thoughts about Space Jam to A New Legacy by Warner Brothers Entertainment?
I personally preferred it over the original. I don't know how many people are gonna hate on me for that. I'm sorry, guys. You gotta accept the fact that the original is not really all that good.
It's bad. It's bad.
There's some nostalgia factor to it. That's fine. That's you do you. But at the same time, accept the fact that it's still not a good movie. And I feel awful for the team that tried to work on it as best as they could with people who had no idea how to lead an animation team or knew what to do with animation. So thank God for the people that were able to step in and do their job. Because that was the problem, really, was that you had people who worked in live action, had no idea what directing animation was like. And this time around, we actually had a director who has had a long-standing history of working in animation, directing this movie. So, and I think it was Malcolm D. Lee. I believe that's his name. Hopefully, if you need to correct me, go ahead. But yeah, so far, based off of what I saw, yeah, I know a lot of people could say, but Michael Jordan, I kind of liked him better, like, as a person. I'm like, and that's fine. You can do that too. But at the same time, I still feel like at least LeBron seemed to be trying in this. Like, he's a little bit more savvy to working in an entertainment environment than Michael Jordan lost in a green screen. The animation, though, number one, and I love that most of it was in fact 2D animation. Thank God. Yeah. I loved it. Nothing against the 3D animation. 3D animation was really nicely done too, but the 2D animation was beautifully done. Just like, and so refreshing. And I've loved seeing all the pencil tests and the clips and everything that from the animators who worked on it. By the way, credit your artists. I've been seeing that's probably one of my biggest complaints about this whole thing, is that the movie, the studio had not been crediting the artists working on different aspects of the movie. Please, it's not I don't know if there's some legality thing, if it's contracts, if it's the freelancers that worked on it and stuff that contractually they said they can't be credited or something. I think it's just either it takes 2 seconds to add somebody's name to a credit scroll. Literally just do that, because a lot of stuff can hinge on your name being in a credits roll. Thank God everybody was able to save their, work from what they worked on in the movie. But anyway, that spiel over. I give full credit to all the artists and creative people who worked on this movie. Like, you did an amazing job. And hey, and our buddy Tony Bancroft worked on the animation in it too. So shout out to Tony. Your stuff looked great, so thank you.
Yay, Tony, he's the real MVP. Anyway, yeah, my initial thoughts are, I think the thing that we said last time is, like, you're going to see a movie about LeBron James playing with Looney Tunes characters.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
James. That's what the opening of the movie kind of felt like to me. Just the repetition of LeBron James.
Yeah, so you're going to see a movie about LeBron James playing with Looney Tunes characters in a basketball game and winning. And if you're okay with that premise, then I think you're gonna have an okay time. If there's like negative to mixed reviews from what I'm seeing on this movie, but I'm like, what did you expect? Like, what did you want? I think the movie came out the best it could with, like, the premise of that. And I really liked it. There were some jokes in there that were like, hey, and yeah, LeBron James did a much better job acting than Michael Jordan. Not that, to be fair, I haven't seen the original Space Jam in like 10,000 years, but from what I remember,
like I did in more recent years.
I was there too when Space Jam came out. Like, I kind of remember. So, and you can tell, like, just kind of like back in action, there was a little bit of undertone of like, hey, that original movie wasn't so good. So my biggest pet peeve before we go into spoilers is the movie isn't really a sequel.
No.
Like, the thing that I wanted to have some continuity between old Space Jam and new Space Jam.
There is a little bit of continuity.
Yeah.
It's nods to it, but it really isn't a direct thing saying, like, Michael Jordan's passing the torch or something. It's like, it's not direct, but it does refer to the original one, especially when it comes to, like, referencing Lola Bunny being the expert in basketball. So
yeah. She was made for the original Space Jam, by the way, so in case you didn't know that, now you know that. So but, like, I expected there to be, like, so if you don't remember the original Space Jam, how they do it is because we don't have servers or online or streaming or any of that. So they had the Looney Tunes characters live underground inside, like, the core of the Earth's layer, and that's how the aliens had to go and get them, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. But that's where they were, and there weren't any more Warner Brothers IP or something like that. So it was a little bit confusing if you wanted to keep in that reality. Like, how did the Looney Tunes get from under the ground in the hole to in the serververse? Like, how does, like, did they migrate? Like, I thought that was going to be, like, some plot thing, but it wasn't. So,
I almost took it like the way Jumanji adapted into a video game from a board game. Like, it's never, I don't think it was ever really explained. It's more like it's just an adaptation from one form to another.
Well,
I almost say, like...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say it was just, I didn't really question that part so much. I guess it's because in my mind, even though it's, like, it's kind of a sequel, it's not really. So I guess I just didn't really question it all that much of how they got into the serververse. I'm thinking, oh, well, everything transitioned to digital. Surely there was a way for them to transition into that realm as well. Maybe it was just, being a cyberspace kind of thing. It's the server is kind of like endless, that there's plenty of space, that you can put them in. So I don't know. And then there are tunes. I don't know. There's a way you can just put them in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the difference that my point being is, like, the Jumanji Robin Williams movie and the Jumanji with Dwayne The Rock Johnson or whatever, Dwayne Johnson, whatever he's being referred to as these days, whatever. They don't have the same characters. Like, there's a nod to the Robin Williams version and old school Jumanji, and it's like kind of sort of established like a Narnia kind of thing where like he was there, but it was in the future or in the past or something. Like, the Jumanji is the same Jumanji as the other one, but, you know, like, none of the playable characters are the same, and it doesn't, you know, no one's, well, Tom Hanks' son was trapped in the Jumanji world, played by Nick Jonas at first. I learned that. But yeah, so here, like, you know, I expected there to be like, oh, hey, the serververse is really cool because we're not in like a fucking hole in the ground or whatever. You know, or some kind of acknowledgement of like, hey, that place didn't seem to make any sense because it didn't make any goddamn sense. Like, at least the serververse, so they're stuck in like the computer with all their IP, at least like that makes more sense, kind of, sort of. So,
especially for crossovers, which we'll get to.
Yeah, okay. The last thing I'll say before we get into spoiler territory is I put it on Twitter, but now like this movie got right. The real villain is the algorithm.
Algorithm.
Jesus Christ. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, the algorithm, we make a lot of comments about it on YouTube. So if you stream a lot of YouTube stuff, then you know, but it's all about appeasing the algorithm, so the algorithm is happy, so it promotes your content more, and then you get more views. So it's kind of like, and so if you're not in line with the algorithm, or if you stop making content for a specific amount of time, then the algorithm will punish you by not promoting your videos as much, and then there's no growth. Like, so, you know, as we're kind of, again, hopefully it will change, knock on wood, but as we've been this kind of lux, or like, you know, thing for like 2 years of just like, oh, KP's videos get like barely any views, it's the algorithm's fault, essentially. So, it may be microphone problems, which should be fixed by now. I've been playing with this microphone for like 2 weeks to make sure we can get the highest possible quality of the sound with the things, so hopefully I sound better than before. But anyway, I thought that was personally pretty funny, and I thought it was funny that the algorithm was the one who came up with the idea of like, let's put LeBron James and Looney Tunes together, and then we can share it on social media, and then everyone will pay attention, which, if you're paying attention to how Space Jam 2 is doing, then that's what happened. So, Space Jam 2 was the best COVID opening for a family film ever so far. So, yay, more like yay, because this is a 2D movie, essentially. Like a good chunk of it is 2D, so we need more 2D. So I'm glad that it's doing well. Thanks for your nostalgia dollars. Maybe you'll save 2D in the meantime. Get your kicks on, I guess, or whatever. Okay, I guess we'll get into spoilers now. So if you care about that, then go away forever and then come back. So, but I imagine at this point most people have seen Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, or Space Jam 2 featuring LeBron James, featuring Nike endorsement, whatever's going on.
Featuring the ultimate Warner Brothers properties crossovers, plus Looney Tunes.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. The thing that I love the fucking most of Space Jam 2, well, the thing that caught me the most off guard that I loved is, okay, so I love Rick and Morty, as you probably know, because I just did a Rick and Morty video, and I've been keeping tabs on the new season, which is kind of like hit or miss. But, so I knew that, like, they put a lot of Warner Brother IP there, but I did not expect for Rick and Morty to have speaking lines in Space Jam 2, and it made me so happy. And even if they were honest,
a few seconds, but it's so funny that it happens.
Because you don't expect it.
Exactly, especially in the way that they come in, and it's so funny that they're dropping off tests. Like, we tried to do tests on your badger thing, and we just figured out his case is irreversible. He's just a mess. It's like, he's your problem now, dum-dums.
Yeah, so they, and that's kind of, I think, a really clever idea of just because these characters are not family-friendly doesn't mean they don't exist. You can still have...
They're under the Turner umbrella, which is all the Warner Brothers properties, Hanna-Barbera, all that, basically Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, all of that is Warner Brothers linked because of the Turner Entertainment. So there you go. That's why you have a bunch of DC shows and stuff like Teen Titans go on Cartoon Network. It's because it's all linked back to Warner Brothers. So there you go.
It's a monopoly. Or conglomerate, as the kids say. So,
corporate synergy.
It's corporate synergy, the movie, but it seemed like it was, I love that kind of stuff. I think corporate synergy, like I've said earlier, is kind of the way of the future, because you can kind of create these scenarios with different characters interacting that is unique. That is basically what the Marvel MCU is. So... except those characters were written specifically for that universe, but they're all pre-connecting with each other in that universe. So, anyway, it's complicated. But, what else? Oh, another thing that I will add, because I think it's important to acknowledge before we get into plot elements, is, I very much liked that they used the DCAU character models, the Bruce Timm character models,
yes,
for the DC characters. That also made me very happy. So
it felt like watching Saturday morning cartoons again. Just like remembering I grew up with these, you think you watched Superman the animated series on Kids WB and all that stuff. It was like it felt good. It felt good to see it again.
Gotta get those nostalgia dollars. Is the DCAU?
Isn't there there's gonna be also the Batman series coming out, the new animated Batman series that's gonna be done in the same style again. So we're coming back.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Is the DCAU, is all that stuff on HBO Max? Can people go
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think so. If it's not there, then Boomerang might have it. Because Boomerang is linked to Turner, which is linked to Warner Brothers, and so on. So, but I'm pretty sure that they're all up on HBO, because there's the whole DC collection that's in there. Because that's what I like about. I gotta admit, somebody even posted, which service have you been using the most, streaming wise, as of late? And I'm like, for me, HBO Max, honestly.
Really?
And I'm not saying this to just sound like I'm some kind of a sponsor or anything. I'm like, literally, their catalog of stuff, it's so nicely organized, and it makes it so much easier to go through their stuff and figure out what you want to watch or what you can watch. I think maybe the only gripe I have is maybe it's because it's through the Fire Stick functionality, that pausing something sometimes comes at a lag, and then it won't stay on pause. But then again, that's or if it pauses, it goes back to the resume play screen, versus just staying at that one spot. But anyway, that's a minor technical gripe. But otherwise, I love
yeah. I don't have an HBO
Max,
so I'm gonna make a mental note to steal your password after the podcast. So. I noticed that my brothers let their friends use our Disney Plus podcast, or Disney Plus. So I just see these avatars, and I was just like, who are these? I'm like, oh, they're my brother's friends who don't want to pay to watch Loki or whatever the kids are into these days.
Yeah, but HBO Max is absolutely fantastic. Full catalog of stuff, and even have stuff for old MGM films and Turner, the Turner Classic Movie library is phenomenal. There's so much stuff in it, and they keep adding stuff. It's funny because it's all under Turner Classic Movies, it's funny when they add some of these newer ones that you're like, oh, wait, that's from the 90s, but you're like, wait, it's considered a classic film, I guess, under the umbrella because of its longevity or something like that, or if it's, that kind of thing. And so that when they categorize it and it's listed under there, you can have all of these other nostalgic films in that same umbrella. Also, they have a Studio Ghibli library.
Oh, shit.
So,
yeah.
So they got pretty much everything in there. And it's so, I've been living off of that. It's so nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get your login for me. I'm mostly serious too, which is the sad thing. It's like, oh, paying for things is hard. Anyway, let's see what else. I think we're gonna take note of this, or this is something Lauren was gonna get to, but it seemed like Lebron was like, he is a better actor. I think that's very black and white, but he also seems to be enjoying himself more than Michael Jordan, who Michael Jordan just didn't seem to know what was going on, but like LeBron like knew all the Warner Brothers characters. He like was naming shit. Shout out for whoever wrote the line about the Iron Giant, because like that is a great example of something that failed originally and then it's becoming like this pop culture thing as they put it into new movies. And like there even was a reference like directly to like a plot element in Iron Giant. I'm just like, yeah. So and then
also they don't have the Iron Giant acting like a weapon in this. Looking at you, Ready Player One.
I mean, like, I also don't really care, because, like, as long as they use him, and as long as, like, go watch the original, it's good, and then come back, because you need to be exposed to the Iron Giant, because the Iron Giant is amazing, and, yay, Iron Giant. So, but, like, even, like, they didn't really do a lot with, like, things like Harry Potter World, for instance, but, like, the scene where, like, he's just like, oh, I'm a Hufflepuff, and I'm just like, what a nerd, like, it's not something that Michael Jordan would be into.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, it's not something that Michael Jordan would have been into. Not that Warner Brothers didn't own Harry Potter at the time, because Harry Potter didn't exist at the time, but that's just, like, an example of just, like, someone who knows is a little bit more in their element. At least he's written that way than just
It does
Michael
make
Jordan.
me genuinely curious if we ever, I mean, the movie says it, but it makes me genuinely curious if he ever did get housed as Hufflepuff. Like, I see him in more of, like, a Gryffindor, but I don't know.
It's canon, like... Lauren, it's canon.
just leave shit a wonder.
No, next LeBron James game, I want everyone to bring Hufflepuff merch and, like, throw it at him. We saw Space Jam. We know what house you're in. So,
Viva the honey badgers.
Yeah, and, like, God bless, they're still trying to have ways to use Harry Potter than Fantastic Beasts in a way that also, like, hopefully doesn't give J.K. Rowling any money. But, I don't know if that whole thing will have an impact. I don't know. Anyway, so...
I personally like, it's funny, I think a lot of people might have had complaints about the pacing of when they were trying to assemble the team, but also at the same time I was thinking, like, well, you had to think you only have so much time to allot in pulling everybody together, especially as many characters as they do, that even if it's little nods as they're going through all these different universes, like they were going through Game of Thrones, and they were going through, Mad Max, they were going through The Matrix, they were going through, like, I know it was like a whole bunch of, like, here, look at these movies that we have, which, at least in this, I don't mind it so much, especially because it's when they're going and looking for all the Looney Tunes who got dispersed across these universes. I didn't mind the pacing being so quick. I mean, yeah, sure, I'd have liked a little bit more time in those realms, but then again, reminder that this is Space Jam, this is about basketball, so this is about the game at the end of the movie, so
basketball, like, damn it,
it's about
you can't have fun here,
ball is life. But I did like how they wove the characters into each of the scenes. It was really freaking hilarious. I especially liked how they teamed up Granny and Speedy Gonzalez. I just like the duo that I'm like, somehow it worked. Somehow they made it work. I don't remember the two ever really interacting much before, and they had him do it there. Also, shout out to Gabriel Iglesias for doing Speedy Gonzalez's voice. He did fantastic. Then again, I had no doubts. Anyway, and also just a shout out to like all the voice actors involved. Just like major props to Jeff Bergman, to Eric Bauza. I just feel bad for Kath Soucie in the middle of all of this, who was the original voice of Lola Bunny and who has voiced other like Looney Tunes characters and Turner characters in the past. But you know what?
Can you give people context for that if they don't know what you're talking about?
I was going to say, so Kath Soucie was the original voice of Lola Bunny in the first Space Jam, and they even brought her back in later incarnations of Lola as well, even after the Looney Tunes show where Kristen Wiig played her. So they had her back to voice all of her lines in Space Jam 2.
They replaced her.
But then at the last minute they replaced her. They replaced her with Zendaya, which that's not Zendaya's fault. It was some corporate decision that decided that put a big name in there. But the thing is, I wasn't even opposed to...
Lebron James is your big name. Why do you need someone else?
I don't know. They wanted it for more of the voice stuff, I guess. But I don't know. It was, but Zendaya did really well with her role too. I don't know. It didn't bother me so much to have her as a voice as Lola in there. I don't know. Her voice seemed to fit. But I just still feel bad because it much love to Kath Soucie, who's a legend.
That's such a dick move.
Yeah, and again, there's along with the whole crediting artist thing. Yeah, there's a few issues.
Yeah. I mean, I can empathize more with the credit thing because it just like it's not intentional. Just things get messy when you're trying and you're in a rush to make a movie. But like that's the thing about streaming services. You can just upload. You can just like change the raw file. And it's fixed. It's not like a movie. It's not like a physical movie that you're just like, oh shit, it's already out. Can't do anything. We'll fix it on the DVD. Like, you just press a button.
The only ones they really couldn't update right away would be the ones that are in theaters right now, because there are certain theaters that are playing Space Jam. So, but anyway, when it comes down to it, though, I did like how they overall at least wrote for the characters and had the characters perform. It felt like Looney Tunes. And actually I like Lola's portrayal in this a lot better than the first one, because she actually seemed like, she's a baller, and she was still a tough girl. She's still pretty and stuff like that, but she didn't have to be like, but she's, a valued player of the team, and she's shown even more so to be a powerful player in this one versus the first one, versus walking out and immediately every cartoon around is like drooling over her, like it's just like it's fine for her to be pretty sexy or have that kind of appeal, but just to have her be there, it's like when she was originally designed to be that, it's like, come on, you have more potential. And that's why I'm so glad over the years she got more interpretations over the years for the shows, like for the Looney Tunes show. I still love Kristen Wiig's. At first I was kind of like thrown off by how jarringly different that take was, but I loved her because she fit right in with the Tunes being absolutely insane in her own right. So, but anyway, I did like her in Space Jam 2, though, so I like how they did her, and especially when she's considered an Amazon now.
Yeah,
Wonder
I thought
Woman
that was,
said so.
I mean, you know why they did that, like, but, it still was a good move, and it was really cool how they did, because, like, they had the Wonder Woman world separate from the DC world, so they could do a thing where, like, the Wonder Woman world, it's a tongue twister, anyway, is like a comic, and how the comic, like, flipped as the action. I thought that was so neat.
That was really cool, the way they treated the animation there. I'm like, they do the stippling and everything. This is really cool. The screen printing look, and it's just, like, really nice, all the textures, and the way, again, the way they jump panels, and the way they move from page to page. It just, like, it's a whole lot of dynamic fun.
So the other thing that I want to talk about before we get into the actual plot is I like that the movie addressed subtle problems with the original Space Jam that if you weren't paying attention, you probably didn't notice. Like, there was a big always that big story about how I think Mel Blanc was, or one of the original animators, Chuck Jones, I think, something like that, was upset that, Bugs couldn't handle little baby alien guys by himself. He had to go get Michael Jordan to help him, and Bugs is, if you've never watched a Looney Tunes short ever, Bugs is known to be, like, smart and think on his feet and a trickster almost to get what he wants. So, like, it seems almost, it seems out of character for him to try to, like, turn to someone else for help. And then, so this movie had LeBron James coming to Bugs because the movie establishes early on that LeBron James has a like of the Looney Tunes and, like, grew up with them and had, like, a little Looney Tunes backpack that they probably got it on vintage eBay somewhere, which I thought was a nice touch. So, and he was happy to see him. He wasn't just like, oh, isn't he Bugs Bunny? Who's Bugs Bunny? What is this rabbit? And, like, he gets the duck season, rabbit season joke right away. Like, even if you haven't seen that short, you probably know of that. As well as
also fun fact, the Matt Williams, who animated the shot of Big Chungus.
Yeah, Big Chungus. I thought we were gonna get to that.
He had no idea of the meme. He just knew the episode where it came from, but he had no idea that particular pose had become a meme. So everyone's like, you made the Chungus.
You know what you did?
But it was a reference to it. I mean, the meme was pulled from that episode that he was referring from. So, I mean, he was just referring. He's just like, I was just genuinely just pulling from an episode to make the gag work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all worked out. I think what they did that more intentionally. Like, I know there's some Looney Tunes mobile game that's similar to the Disney games I talk about, and they like purposely added Big Chungus, and I think his name in the game is Big Chungus, so, like,
yes,
that's more intentional, but, like, I don't have a problem with, I think that's funny. So, but anyway, the other thing too is, I thought it was a good touch, too, that there was, like, some kind of rule and arc established, because, like, if you look at the original Space Jam, it looks like they're just, like, cheating the whole game. Like, what are the rules of the Space Jam? Like, why? They're not winning. It's stupid. So, I think it was good to establish kind of like there are no rules, or you can kind of play to your strengths. And there was actually a reason why the first half they were losing. And I thought that was...
I did like how they upped the stakes in this for the game and actually made it... Yeah, and again, he's like, it's basketball. I know this thing. And then you realize, no, it's a video game that it revolves around basketball, but it's not exactly basketball. It has power-ups. It has, style points. It has all that he doesn't think of leveraging, and he's thinking, I gotta do things the old-fashioned way, and that's what trips everybody up. He's doing things his way versus letting everybody do it their way, which the Looney way is basically the equivalent of, do the style points, do all this and that. And I love that's what they did to embrace the whole, like, individuality aspect of saying, be cool with, people being themselves and embracing why they're special,
Yeah. I guess the only other point to talk about is LeBron James' character arc with his son, which is probably the part that no one cares about, but they needed to have that for the movie to establish itself. So I looked it up, but none of the people that played his family was all fictional kind of family.
Yeah, but they were all like, if I remember though, looking at pictures, they did cast-alikes, so they made them like their kids that look like they're his real kids. Something like that. I remember that Dom in particular. I saw the real life Dom, and I'm like, oh wow, they actually got him pretty close. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I'm sure it was like, obviously it was an acting thing, like
his kids can't act.
Like you have to go like his kids aren't in SAG, It's just,
well, that's an easy fix. Like,
well, I mean, the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, there are certain things where in order to have like a speaking role in the movie, you have to be in the union or you get a union job out of it. Like, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But based on experience, I've seen it happen. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just what they had to do is they went with kids that were cast-alikes that were already like in an acting guild of some sort. But anyway.
And I thought, but yeah, I'm glad, like, at the very least, like, I don't think, did Michael Jordan have a character arc in the original at all? Kind of. It's just like,
really. It was more like, it was funny because the whole part of the whole thing was him coming back to basketball after going and leaving it and going to play baseball. So, I mean,
he goes
he
back
just
to basketball.
went back to basketball. I guess that's his arc.
And then he retires again after the movie.
Yeah, so I'm like, not really much of an arc. It feels like it was a lot more prominent and more of like, yeah, LeBron actually learned something in this. And like, yeah, he had a lot more obvious arc than Michael Jordan did. Michael, again, the first one, I don't think it focused on having more of a moral or a message to pull away. It was meant to be, again, corporate synergy. That's what it was. It was a commercial to advertise. It was a commercial for commercials. So, unfortunately, a lot of like what could be a heavier hitting message got lost. Versus this one, where it actually is the driving force of what happened. What leads to all the events in the movie is that there's a rift between LeBron and his son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, easy to follow. The kid wants to make video games. He wants his son to play basketball like him. So it's like, yeah, of course there's going to be like that dissension. And then it's also, that leads into the stakes of the movie, is that he could risk not only losing his son, but other people involved that get pulled into the serververse, which I guess we could talk about that too, about Algae Rhythm and him taking what is essentially the kid's creative product and going, it's all mine now. I know how to use it and I've made it my thing,
Yeah, I think, so I guess the moral of the story is that you need to play more video games, because if LeBron James just got a chance to play video games and to chillax a little bit, maybe he, like, would have came out a little bit more well-rounded. Like, just because you play video games doesn't mean you're going to be not successful in things that you like to do too. So, I don't know. That's what the beginning of the movie kind of sort of established, I guess. But yeah, yeah. I guess the last thing is, did you like the cameos?
I like of all of the crossover cameos, like, yeah, I mean, I still have to pause and go through so many of these crowd shots to see everybody, but I was trying to catch as many as I could. Problem is that kind of distracts you from when you're trying to focus on the scene at hand. But it also leads into the replayability of the movie, where you can keep going back. And that's the nice thing about streaming, is you can pause stuff and you can go back and see all the characters that are there. I'm still cackling at the thought of the fact that because they have the rights to Clockwork Orange, that they had some of the characters in there. I'm like, wow, in a family film, definitely shouldn't be there, but okay.
That was kind of the fun thing, is like they cut out Pepe Le Pew because of the Me Too stuff, but then they have a Clockwork, which, if you don't know, the characters are rapists in the film. Fun fact. So that seems
it's
a lot worse.
It's like one of those like classic, like, it's a Kubrick classic kind of cult film. Mm-hmm. Because it's because of Kubrick's work. It is something that eventually, if you haven't seen it and you're old enough to watch it, you can watch it as long as you know what you're in for. But don't watch it with your little 4-year-old or whatever. It's not for them. Very intense stuff. But I did love all, like, I like the moment where you had, like, like Hanna-Barbera characters, like you had the Flintstones all sitting there and the Jetsons sitting there with their ship, and You had even the Animaniacs had their first ever appearance in a theatrical film, and they're sitting on the rooftop of one of the buildings watching the game. And I think it's maybe the first time we've seen them in CGI. Maybe. I've only known them in 2D. So,
I think so.
Unless there's a video game that I'm not aware of. Otherwise, they've always been 2D. So, but it's cute to see the Warner siblings there.
Yeah. I will mention...
oh no, I was going to say, of course, Iron Giant, King Kong, all of them being able to fit there. I'm like, I would have been happy to sit in that crowd.
King Kong! Anyway, I think there was like a play on King Kong. I forgot the setup for the joke. But anyway, the thing that should be noted, that other people have noted, that I thought would be a good thing to throw in here is that Rick and Morty were the only Cartoon Network / Adult Swim characters in the thing, and I thought that was strange.
Yes, but actually no.
Really?
There was I did see Space Ghost appear, so there's that.
I mean, that's more...
He hovered up... I know it's more of the Turner Hanna-Barbera stuff, but I was just saying, like, technically he could kind of be lumped in as another one, but it's funny because I did see him flying above the court, so I'm like, oh hey, Space Ghost.
Like, put fucking Johnny Bravo or the Powerpuff Girls in there or something. Like, could fly. You could fit them in there easily. Like, they're, I'm sure they've been 3D rendered somewhere by now. It's not hard. So I thought that was like, if you're trying to cash in on this nostalgia dollar, which is what this movie is all about, I thought, like, you have Rick and Morty have speaking lines, but you forget to put, like, any Cartoon Network properties in there. Like, what you doing there, guys? I think someone just kind of forgot.
Let's talk about the real best cameo, though, in the entire movie. One I did not freaking expect, and I was so glad. Okay, I'm gonna give it away.
That was I mean, we're at spoilers, so go ahead.
Yeah, we're at spoilers here. So Sylvester comes in, it's at halftime, players are all defeated, and he comes in like, hey, I found Michael Jordan in the crowd. He could lead us to victory. And they have this whole dramatic lead in of the guy walking in, and then you realize it's freaking Michael B. Jordan. And he's just like eating popcorn, like, I was just in the crowd, just watching the game. Doing great out there.
That was great. I mean,
he's like, I'm not a ball player, but he's like, you guys keep doing great. Nice to see you. I'm like, that was great. I wasn't sure. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be Michael Jordan, but who's going to walk in? And I just never, I don't know why it never hit me. Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, oh my God.
I didn't know who he was before this, so, I just thought it was a funny
twist. Did you
twist.
not see Black Panther?
I did. Who is he playing Black Panther?
He was the bad guy.
Oh, he was the bad guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I gotta just, like, sit down and absorb the MCU one of these days. Like, I'm gonna be there for Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man, because they're getting all the Sam Raimi people in there, and, like, yay, it's the one thing I care about. So, especially with the new Disneyland Avengers campus and stuff, I'm just like, yay.
I by the way, I do like that they've been like every week that they would drop a new Loki episode, they would update the Loki in Avengers campus, like his outfit would be different.
Oh wow, that's
like
great.
So I thought that was like, that's a nice touch.
Attention to detail. So I don't know. I don't really think. I think we covered all the things that I wanted to talk about. Overall, it was a good movie for if you were expecting Space Jam. I think they did a lot. They tried to push things that they didn't do. They put a lot more 2D in than the original movie. It was nice that they made Lebron James 2D and he just wasn't 3D the whole time, because it works better when he's 2D, and then you can get away with more stuff. And if you want a more compelling movie, then it's not going to be here. But if you like cartoon characters, which I imagine you do if you're listening to our podcast, then I think you're in for a fun, like, no stakes, well, some stakes, but like, what's going to happen movie thing where you get to see LeBron James, who seems to care more about Warner Brothers IP than Michael Jordan does. So
yeah, and also it was I think there's also the message in the movie which seemed to be lost on a lot of people who came away with this with like negative
thoughts. They put a moral in Space Jam, guys.
I'm like, it's saying, and it's repeated a lot, especially because of what LeBron has to learn, is that, it's like, it's all about fun. Don't you remember fun? Like, literally, that's what the movie, even if it's something that you shouldn't have to take seriously, there is at least a message of like, hey, we're trying to make this like a fun little experience. Don't you remember when it was, you could go and have fun at the movies and have fun just with a silly little movie that didn't have to be like anything more than it's just a huge commercial, a huge promotion for Warner Brothers, sure, but it's still like trying, at least this time around. It feels like trying a lot more, and you could feel it with the team and how everybody that worked on it, and everything they put into it. It's like, I'm like, and like it actually had some kind of a message to take away from it. Even if it's a movie that you're saying, in the end, don't take it too seriously, but at the same time, it's still trying to teach you something, I think that was like a message that seemed to get lost on a lot of people that were walking away with it going like, oh, I hated it. I'm like, and, to each their own, but I feel like it's just like when they said it wasn't fun, going like, really? I thought it was fun. So it's not like the world's most incredible movie or anything, and that's okay. It didn't have to
I knew
be.
That what was going to happen. I'm just like, yeah, you did. Like,
I'm like, it's Space Jam. That's kind of the point. The whole thing is the ride to get to the end. That's where you don't know what's going to happen, really. You know how it's going to end. It's just a matter of the details in the middle. It's again, it's like, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Like, how are they going to get to that? And I like what they did with it. I like what they did different. I like how they adapted it to the 21st century. I like how they incorporated all these characters. Corporate synergy is, I like to see how it was represented here. Could there have been some pacing fixed in some areas? Of course there could have been. But, given the main focus was going to be a basketball game, couldn't tell you much more than, hey, it's Space Jam. What do you expect? But I definitely had a lot more fun in watching this, and especially with the whole sense of like, Bugs seeing the other toons as family. That comes back to the whole theme of family in it. I'm like, man, I'm touched. I love to see that Bugs cares so much about the other guys. It's nice.
Speaking of that, something I forgot about is like, I don't think they really set up why the Looney Tunes like just dissipated across like the multiverse.
The algorithm convinced them to go venture outside of their world, saying there's more than just the Looney Tunes world. There's more than that. So go and see what you can do. And basically that convinced all of them except Bugs to leave, and that's why they're all dispersed in the different universes. Basically according to their as you could see, according to their different strengths or their interests or anything like that, where it seemed like, okay, yeah, in this universe it's funny to see them there, but at the same time kind of makes sense, in terms of what they gravitated towards. Especially funny seeing them in Wile-E and Roadrunner and Mad Max.
That was so good.
It was really good, really well done. Super quick, but I'm so glad we had it as a moment in there.
Yeah, you might like think this movie is stupid, but it took like someone to actually think about, oh, what would be good for these characters? What environment would be good for these characters? And like, they could have just chosen like something stupid, but they didn't. Yeah. And they tried. I mean, the granny within the Matrix was kind of weird, but like,
Speedy Gonzalez, and it worked because of the whole like how fast he goes and how he's able to dodge bullets and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that totally worked. But again, it was also, I still think with all the power-ups and style points that they had in the game, I still think one of my favorite ones was when Grammy got the senior discount. No. I laughed so hard when that came up. I'm like, I don't know. It just tickled me.
Fun. Yep. So I think we've said all the things that we can say about Space Jam. If you don't want to see it, you don't have to. You can wait till it's I don't know, it'll probably still be on HBO Max.
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise it's yeah, they release them like, a month or two later after the initial release. But what's nice is HBO Max has all these movies that you don't need an upcharge to watch them. You just catch them while they're up there, and then they go away for a little bit, and then they come back. So it's like, it's nice. It's nice to have them up.
You gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Okay, so if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you'd like to see more, hear more, there we go, here. If you'd like to hear more things, then we're on all your favorite podcast platforms. We keep on forgetting to put the links for everything in the descriptions, but like, I think our main traffic source is YouTube, but like if YouTube doesn't work for you or you got weird data or something, SoundCloud is very data friendly, or Spotify or whatever, and you can download stuff in advance.
The podcast app off of iTunes.
Yeah, you can download things in advance if you need to, so you don't have to worry about buffering like me. Like I've been in the car a lot because of work this summer, so it's always a pain in the butt when you're listening to a podcast and then you're just like, oh no, lag, we can't do that. So go download it if it's easier for you. As long as you're listening somewhere, I don't really care. And then obviously if you like to watch things, you can watch the main content. I feel like people who listen to the podcast do that already, but still, I keep on saying
doesn't hurt to have a reminder.
Someone for the Rick and Morty video, like the first couple of comments were like Notification Squad, and then I was like, Notification Squad gives me life. So it was just a couple of people, but I was just like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of working. It just, it's an artist thing. You want to feel validated for all the work you're putting into your thing, and I'm grateful for all the things, but I would like to grow more and influence people with the content that we make. I know my microphone is annoying sometimes, but it's fixed, so god damn it. And then for convention updates specifically, I would go to my Twitter, but I'm on all the convention websites for all the ones I'm listed so far, I think. But we'll get to more as these things get closer, so I'm sorry if you're not going to the conventions and you have to hear about them every week, but it will be done soon, I promise. So thanks for listening. We'll see you whenever next time is. Next time, or if you can listen to all of the podcasts, because I bet you haven't listened to all of them forever. So, anything else, Lauren, you want to add?
That's all, folks.
Okay, that's a good ad. All right, bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you so much for listening to Animation Kimmunication on YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider. We are really hoping this show makes a difference in how people view animation and media, as well as giving and providing advice for people all over the world who like or want to join the animation or media industry. If you liked what you heard, please remember to subscribe and rate those 5 stars, as well as tell your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our main YouTube channel, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, and turn those notifications on. My name is Scribbler, and you have been listening to Animation Kimmunication.